Welcome to the show. This is one I'm very excited for. I've been watching paintball stories for too long, and this is one of the best ones that we've ever seen. Paintball Fit won the World Cup, and they did it in historic, iconic, pick your, the word that you would like to use to describe it. It was unbelievable. They had to take down Tampa Bay Damage in the Ocho Finals, a wild card round. That's a team that went undefeated at the last event and has won multiple events in the past couple of years. It's a legendary squad. Then they move on and they got to beat Red Legion. Red Legion has won a couple events this year. They won the overall series title. They'd only lost to two teams up until they faced Fit. Fit was not one of those two teams. And they got the win there. Then they move on and play AC Diesel, who's playing the best they've ever played with their superstar roster. And that was a pretty crazy match. We're going to get into all of this. And then they have to go play Edmonton Impact in the finals. And they were down by 2 with 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go. So everyone that watched World Cup knows this story. Insane story. And we are blessed to have the bulk of the team here to kind of talk through some of the big moments along their road to the win, this historic World Cup victory on Sunday. We got Colt Luckau, Brody Luckau, we got Stewart, Cyrus Garringer, Jonathan Chavez, all here to join us to discuss some of these really big moments. And I just can't overstate how big these moments were. And if we could just bring these guys in so we can jump into this conversation. But the first thing that I have to say is that, since the COVID break of 2020, so for going on, 4.5 years, the two big stories now in the game is the fact that you can be San Diego Dynasty, their core's over 40. Those guys had won close to half the events since the end of 2020. And then now we have Paintball Fit with no hired guns, no imported superstars, just doing it by themselves, grinding it out weekend after weekend, doing it the hardest way possible. Unbelievable. It's just, and it's a big signpost for everyone in the rest of the sport. Colt Luckau, I'm so proud of you guys, man. I didn't have anything to do with this one. I've just been watching it from the sidelines, but I'm proud of you because having been through the grinder before, the way you guys were able to get this victory and become a top team now, an elite team. If you win the World Cup, that's the definition of elite. And you guys did it the hard way. So before we start bringing everybody in and having this intricate conversation about these big moments, what's going on in your head right now, bro? I mean, obviously you got to be on cloud 9, but Jesus, like this is a dream come true for you guys and so much hard work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It, like you said, it's a dream come true. It's something that we've kind of been talking about for a long time, that we truly believe that we had the talent and work ethic to make that dream come true. And now that it's happened, it's still like a surreal feeling, like, oh shit, like we just won World Cup in pro. And like in that exact moment, it just feels like another win. But then you start kind of thinking about it and you're like, no, holy shit, like that's the top of the line win you could possibly get. Like, it's kind of crazy.
It
like
doesn't
that's
get any
Super
better.
Bowl yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
So like it's a surreal feeling. Just excited to keep grinding and try to go win a series next.
Yeah, so we just saw a little Cyrus Garringer, Stewart here, some of our guests. Yeah, I love that you said what's the next goal, right? Win a series. If you guys can win the World Cup, especially with the route that you had, and I'm not even talking about what went on in the prelims. We will get to this, but Jesus, dude, you got to beat Damage, Legion, AC Diesel, who playing again, and AC Diesel hasn't been a top team, but they have top players on that team. But they were playing like a top team, and we're going to get into some of the craziness in that one here in this show. And then you have to go play Impact and went down. It's just, it couldn't have been more dramatic. It couldn't have been harder. I mean, other than maybe having Dynasty in your bracket, like it couldn't have been more of a storybook finish for this. But knowing how hard you've been grinding, and maybe some people that just touch base in this situation, as far as the story is concerned, you guys came in and kind of got murdered in the pro league with, playing for AC Dallas back in the day, then went and just completely swept the table in the semi-pro division. We used to joke, which we would say in the show, Colt, it was like when it was happening, we'd be like, well, there should be a division between semi-pro and pro because that's where PB Fit should be. because they're obviously better than everyone that they're playing. I felt I was actually starting to feel bad. I don't really feel bad for paintball teams because, again, I've been in this grinder, so I know how it is. But having taken a lot of second places over the years, I'm like, oh man, I kind of feel bad for Blast Camp because it's just been all PB Fit. And then you guys came in, and I mean, before we bring everyone else in, the question I would ask you is this: as far as Sunday mindset is concerned, I remember seeing you guys at the 4th event. We're in Chicago. You guys make your first Sunday. I went and talked to you a little bit before that, and a couple of guys on the team. You guys seemed like, I'm looking around the pits, and body language means everything to me. You can kind of see it written on dudes' eyes, their facial expressions, the way that they're, are they stalking around, ready to go and win this game by first degree murder? Or are they kind of intimidated by the moment? You guys were not intimidated by that moment then, obviously not at Cup. So how much did the mindset kind of play into your guys' ultimate success?
I mean, honestly, I think that's everything. I think in sports, I think everyone works really hard. Everyone, especially at the pro level, has the talent, right? Like everyone's good at that level. A lot of it comes down to mindset, in my opinion. And our mindset is that we're going to beat every team that we go out and play. And I'm not nervous that I'm going to lose to anyone. And I think that kind of stems throughout the whole team. And I think that's why we're able to have as much success as we've had in the past.
I couldn't agree more. Now, if we could just bring Cyrus and Scott in as well too here before we jump into this road to victory at the World Cup and go through some of these very brutal, very intense, and successful moments for you guys. That's kind of the question I would throw to both Cyrus and Scott, because mindset is so crucially important. If you don't walk out there feeling like you're 10 foot tall and you're going to crush everyone in front of you, you're probably never going to win a pro paintball tournament. And then, seeing as how, Scott was kind of your tip of the spear. We got Brody in here as well too. He got some good reps in there, some crucial reps, especially in that final match. So we're going to get his thoughts on that when we get to it. But definitely want to touch base if we can. Hopefully we're not having any technical difficulties. We got a lot of moving parts in this one. But yeah, if we could bring Cyrus and Cyrus Garringer and Scott Stewart in here. Yeah, there we go. So we got Cyrus. So Cyrus, first of all, Cyrus, congratulations on your MVP. There was good arguments for a lot of guys on the squad for the MVP. You played an incredibly perilous position. You were out in the blind zone, shooting different lanes, mixing it up. You were the tip of the spear up in the middle. You got numerous crucial kills, which some of these we will be going through here in the show. You also were the instigator of the moment with AC Diesel that kind of set them on the road to self-destruction mentally. So you were kind of really involved in a lot, and it was, again, a very, very, very difficult position to play. I was coaching a divisional team, getting ready for World Cup, talking to a ton of different pro teams, pro players. Probably talking to a bunch of people that seen Colt. We had spoken a little bit, probably cumulative people that had played 300 points on the layout. And after talking to everyone, I was like, okay, whoever can play this, whatever team ends up playing this blind zone and playing that first attacker up the middle well, more doing it better more often than they're doing, than they're failing, that's probably going to be a team that's going to be very successful. Sure enough, Cyrus, that was you. Your mindset heading into this World Cup battle, what was going on in your head knowing you had to play this crazy, crazy position with a lot of risk versus reward, treacherous moments?
So we went into the actual layout, and I was kind of playing everywhere. I didn't really have a place yet. And then when we finally got to the actual weekend of practicing like the divisional guys, I got to play in that spot over and over again. So I got really comfortable playing that dead zone, and I would go over there and tell the divisional guys like, "Hey, I'm doing this. Shoot, like please shoot for me." So like I saw literally everything that anyone would throw at me in our practices. So I felt very confident going into the tournament.
And then as far as, well, I almost want to save the good stuff for when we get to it, to get your reaction when you see some of this. Have you guys, before we jump into these points and we bring some other guys in here, how much have you actually rewatched your win? Obviously you lived it, but how much have you gone back and kind of checked in on some of these moments? Colt?
I personally haven't really watched it So I'm excited to kind of go back and see some of these.
Cyrus?
I've watched all of Sunday at least twice. We watched finals together, like back at the Airbnb on Monday, so that was fun to watch together. But other than that,
Nice.
I think I've only watched the whole day twice.
Hey, dude, watch the whole day only twice. That's a pretty impressive amount of homework that you've done. Yeah, and then want to get Scott Stewart in here as well too. Was such a fundamental part of this win. He had some huge points. Scott, you've been grinding at this for a while. I was actually texting with Thomas Taylor before we jumped on the show. There's a lot of offseason madness going on, and he's going to be on a new team here eventually. But and I was like, hey man, I can't have an intricate conversation with you right now. I got to do the show with PB Fit. And he just gave you this. He was like, dude, Scott Stewart, man, unbelievable. He's a world champ. He started off as this collegiate dude, and I was just saying all these amazing things about you. So what's going on in your mind right now? Obviously been doing this a while. You had to play also a very difficult position. You and Brody were mixing it up a little bit, but you were getting the lion's share of the spins. You also weren't just the one on the snake side. I mean, you were typically the one, and this was kind of one of the things that was making it hard for teams is that you guys were mixing your game plans up quite a bit as far as who was going where, who was shooting what lanes. Some things were a little bit more predictable. Obviously, Jonathan Chavez is going to be, we got him hitting here too. He's going to be on the D side. You're going to be somewhere on the snake side, but sometimes it was kind of all over the place. But before the battle, what was going on in your head, knowing that you knew the field, the spot you're playing is incredibly important. What were you thinking?
I was thinking you got to be aggressive in that snake. You don't want to be the ones to let the other guys come to you. And then on top of that, there was a lot of bounce shots we thought we could take advantage of on other teams. So kind of focused on those two things.
I can't wait to get to the final match when your barrel broke and what was going on in your head in that moment, because that was crazy. And then, before we jump into some of these points, let's touch base with Jonathan Chavez, if we can, just because, man, you guys kind of threw Chavez on an island over there a lot. There was a lot of between Mason and Cyrus and the package. You guys are running an interesting stack as far as what you were doing in the middle of the field, where things were going, and then all this, and as far as on the snake side. But it was just the constant was just like, and then also where Chavez was actually going. But he was just let's put Jonathan over there. He's going to be fine, and he had some huge moments for you guys. So hopefully, we can bring Jonathan in here as well too. But before we do, Colt, I mean, how confident are you in just hey bro, make it work. we're gonna do this over here. You just got to make it work over there, bro. It's just you, dude. Also, by the way, most of the time.
I'm very confident. We work on that a lot at practice, and just kind of like giving him the confidence of just like, if you ever get put away, right, just ask for help, and then we'll rotate guns over and help him. And we felt very confident at practice with Jonathan and getting him to understand, like, on that D side, you could push fast, but then once we realized you could get to their side and it didn't matter because the snake too would just shoot you. Once we realized that, or the snake could easily get to their side faster than a Dorito, so then he could get there, wait for you, shoot you in the 50. Jonathan was like, I don't see the benefit in me going, because then they can just shoot me easier. Or if I stay back here, I just keep tabs on them and we get free kills from the snake side. If I need help, I can bait them into certain things. So then once he kind of talked to Trenton about that, Trenton was like, oh, well, if that's the case, when we get up to the center, Colt just come and switch and play D side with Chavez, and he'll tell you where they're at. And then when we need help, we just get one of the snake guys or the center guys to shoot the Dorito back. Or when a gunfight heads up with Chavez, heads up. But very confident in Jonathan being on an island.
Yeah, speak of the devil, there he is. Jonathan Chavez, congratulations, bro, on your World Cup victory. You had an amazing run. I mean, people have known for a while now when you play PB Fit, you have to put guns on the D side, because if you don't, Chavez is going to make you pay. And you have just been an absolute just killer for this squad now since they've come into the Pro League. It's been blatantly apparent. So, before we jump into some of these points, what was your mindset on that D side? I mean, Colt was just kind of talking about, all right, well, you can overextend, but it doesn't really pay dividends yet once the line's been softened up. But what was going on in your head? Because you were sometimes taking big bites, whether it was that Hertz Tower, sometimes D3, D1, going to different spots. But, you know, kind of what were you thinking over there while it was going down?
For sure, just valuing my body 100%, because I realized, like, whenever it comes to practice, I would make it out to those spots. But then if I overextend and I die, it just puts Colt and Trent in a really bad spot in the situation. And so it kind of made me selfish as a player to die in those situations. So, like, from what Colt said earlier, is like it's not beneficial for me to push. I just chill back, relax. I chill, see where they're going. And then I ask for Trent or Colt's help, and then they ended up shooting them, or I'll shoot them heads up, 50-50 of the time. But it's just that, really, because I am prone to just wanting to go. You know, I had that itch to go. And so just learning to just, like, hey, take it easy, itch, you know, it was huge in our success, because if I didn't, you know, there's multiple times where I could have died filling out or like just trying to push the issue. And then next thing you know, they flip the field on that side on us, and then Trenton dies and Colt dies, and there goes the point. So.
Yeah, so let's jump into Darren, if we can, our producer, if we can jump into our first look here. Well, actually, before we jump into it, we do have to talk about the wild card game, the Ocho finals against Damage. So I went through this match, and I was, you know, kind of starting to try to figure out, because it was, you know, if we went through every single moment that happened, we would be here for 5 hours, because it was just this magnificent run through a bunch of tough teams. So you guys had lost to Damage in the prelims. You have to play him again, as the paintball gods would have it. But as I was going through this game blow for blow, it really wasn't much of a game. No disrespect to Damage, but you guys went up early, a bunch of points, you know, went up 3-0, and then they came back and scored 3-1. You know, so it was 3-1 essentially with 6:03 left. And then you guys ended up putting up that fourth point. It's 4-1, 3:58 left to go. And then there was and that was it. There was one more point after that. So kind of before we jump into the next bit of your engagements, as the games get much more dramatic, you know, Colt and then Cyrus and Jonathan definitely want to get all your thoughts on this. But so Colt, we'll start with you. You're playing Damage. You know that they won the last event. They went undefeated. It's a legendary team. They've won tournaments recently. They just won the last event 2 in a row, not that long ago. You had just lost them in the prelims, and then you have to get through them in order to get, you know, have any chance of hell of winning this tournament. What was going on in your head as far as like strategy, tactics, intensity, and in the mindset? What were you thinking?
Well, for me, it was a very personal match, just because early in the year, there were some interviews where, you know, Joey was coming out saying that our play style wouldn't work, and we're too predictable, and we wouldn't have success at that level of playing certain teams with trying to outthink them. So that was a very personal match for myself. And I mean, a lot of people don't remember that Damage was the first match we ever played in pro as AC Dallas, and they beat us like 8-3. And I remember one point specifically, like Jacob or Jason, they came down D side and had a phenomenal point, and we're like laughing and talking shit to like end the match, and I'll never forget that. So that was just kind of like a big chip on my shoulder, and I know it's a massive chip on Chavez, and he can kind of explain that. But from that match, but yeah, and going into it, the first day they beat us 2-1 because they were Rainey was killing it, shooting a snake guy off break. He was probably the most consistent on that shot the entire event. But we found that he wasn't shooting up the center at all. So we were like, wait, what are we doing? Screw sending anyone out wide on snake side, take away their only shot, and let's flood the center with Cyrus, and then kind of just give up running wide on snake side, so then they don't get that free kill. So we'll play them 5-on-5, and we know we're going to win 5-on-5 because we truly believe we're the better team. And then that was kind of the adjustment I think we made. And it was like, hey, let's just flood a lot of paint at the Dorito side, because I'm confident enough that even if they make the snake, like, I'm not going to personally let them come win. from Snakeside from the home. And if we need help, we have Cyrus in the middle to be like, hey, they're in the snake, like just wait for them to pop up because you have the dominance from that center. And then Scott or Brody could get out to the corner and then kind of just shut down that whole snake side. So we were like, let's flood the Dorito side with paint, get a kill off break, which Trenton and Cyrus and Scott, I have to figure out exactly who all was shooting that way, but we're very consistent on getting a kill on the Dorito side off break because Trenton was able to put a lot of good paint before the W, and Cyrus and Scott were able to put really good paint on the outside of it as well. So we felt like that was our best chance to get a kill off break, and then just let me just kind of watch the snake side, let them know what's happening, talk with the R2 on the snake side, and go from there. But we figured that made the most sense, and then we knew that Rainey really liked filling out from the 2, the Aztec on snake side and going straight to the corner. So we kind of tried to set up some bait for that. So like off break, I would shoot and play, and whether I got a kill or not off break, I would just focus on not letting Rainey play paintball out of the 2 and just shooting blind shots and then trying to catch him filling over. But that was that
you had
was the adjustment we made.
You had a hell of a shot on Rainey, and then John. I think I'd have to check my notes, but I think it was I think it was when it was 3-1. Rainey got in the snake. You had a hell of a shot from that back center. But so Jonathan, he was saying that you had a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. Talk me through that. Like why? Why did you have a chip on your shoulder playing Tampa Bay Damage?
Pretty much it was that instance when we played Damage at AC Dallas. I definitely was not the player I was then. And I got bunkered by one of the Edward brothers, and straight up as I got bunkered, just straight laughing into my face and just start shooting the rest of my boys. And I'm like, all right, I remember that. I'm gonna get my get back. And I did. And I let him know that I did, and that I'll be here forever to let him know. So it was great.
Yeah, well, you
it was
definitely
really
did. Well, it's like you got to be careful to wake up the beast, right? And you always want to look. I mean, all the best teams. It's like when you're done with your adventure, you want to. Since we're playing paintball, so we're not playing for your life. We're playing for a bit of blood. We're playing for a bit of money, but we're not really playing like you're not when you get beat, you're not getting knocked unconscious and possibly getting paralyzed and taken to the hospital like an MMA match, right? So you almost have to thank your enemies. Because without strong enemies, you don't know how strong you actually are. So if you didn't have that moment where it was probably Jacob, to be honest, because Jason, maybe Jason would do that too. But hearing the instance and knowing the sides, D sides, probably Jacob, probably Jake. So Jake, woke the beast up in you, and to his detriment a couple of years later. So you always got to be careful when you play guys. Like you do want to play with that chip on your shoulder, but you got to be careful because if you wake the beast up, then you may have a Jonathan Chavez that's going to be out to be a hero and make a name for himself and make a name for his team. And the next thing you know, you're losing a game at the World Cup, and then that team goes on to win the world title. So, and then Cyrus, I'm going to go let my cat out of this office real quick, but give the people, and I'll touch back in real quick, but what was going on in your head? Because again, you're playing this crazy spot, bro. You are riding on the edge of constantly getting shot. You're playing another team that can do the exact same thing. You're heading out into a blind zone and then having to make reads and fills. And it's like, very, very high level paintball. So what was going on in your head? And I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds.
So mindset wise, it was awesome to play and actually beat the team that I kind of cut my teeth with at CFP playing against Damage. So and then Rainey also coached me when I play in the WCs. So I was getting to play against a lot of my mentors. So the mindset into playing them, I was excited, to be honest. And playing that dead zone, it definitely wasn't easy. But Rainey was thankfully not really shooting for me. He was focusing mainly on the snake attacker. So it was allowing me to put really good paint back at anyone that was playing the dead zone on the D side, and then the D runner. And then me and Trenton were just kind of double teaming them.
Yeah, it was once you guys won that game and it wasn't that close, I'm like, okay. And was it this game? There was I don't think it was this one. I think it was the next game, but when it was actually in the next game against Fit, but there's a my own quote. And I mean, I'm talking for 10 hours a day. I'm not always going to say the best stuff, but I was like, yeah, if Fit wants to win tournaments, maybe they need to get a little bit deeper. And then I was like, yeah, maybe not, Matty. Ha. As I'm like laughing at myself while I'm taking notes but once you guys had that win, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, okay. They just had no problems with damage and they beat damage at their own game and Colt, kind of to your point, right? It's again, playing with the chip on your shoulder where they're saying like, oh, they can't handle the style of ball and, whatever. I mean, this is just how it is, right? It's like you got the older dudes that are here and they're winning tournaments and they're kind of looking down at everybody because they haven't, it's like if you put up 250 on the bench and this dude hasn't done that yet, you're like, bro, like, can you even do that? And then one day they keep working and keep working and keep working and keep working. And then all of a sudden they put 300 up on the bench. You're like, okay, Jesus Christ, I can't do that. That was impressive. So it was just this highly impressive technical victory. A lot of it came from the breaks. And you guys had some big moments in close points. But it wasn't dramatic. So let's go to some dramatic stuff. So Darren, if we could rack up, because basically from here on out, it's all drama. Like it's just all, which I could, and you guys had the stands behind you guys. Everyone, I mean, it felt like a hometown event for you guys. So here's the situation. It's 1-0 PB Fit. You guys, let me get to my notes real quick. So the first point went pretty well for you guys. You guys were both in the snake off the break. Cyrus, you were walking and gunning up to that forward wedge, shooting D side. You guys doubled up the back center, and then you shot Kirill on his layup to center. Whatever, it's a relatively decent, easily point for you guys. So now we're heading. So you guys got a 1-point lead. There's still 12:35 on the clock. This game is way yet to be decided. And if we can just play this out and watch this for a little bit here. But here's the situation. So we got PB Fit. You guys are on the red side in the red. It's 5-on-5. You guys both have bodies in the snake. Legion's going to do a little tactical retreat to get to that back corner bunker. But there's Malloy. Malloy's in the snake. His gun is completely down. And this is where it starts to get a little crazy. So, Cyrus, since you've watched this point, let me throw it to you real quick here, because I've watched this a bunch, and I know you watched it a little bit too. What's going on in your head at this point in time?
Well, first of all, it'd been really nice to know his gun was down. Me and J-Rab were gun battling corner to corner. So I was kind of just trying to feed Scott as much info as I could. And then Trenton, I can't remember if he shot the Dorito guy and then launched, but when he launched, the guy spun on him. So it pulled basically all of the Red Legion guys. And then as soon as Colt won the one-on-one, I just knew we were winning that match.
Really? That early? I'm beginning some Red Legion. But so pause it right here, Darren, if we can. All right, so this situation, so Colt, now we got to throw it to you. So chaos is set in. It was, let me just look at it real quick. Yeah, so, I mean, again, it started 5-on-5, and then it was one of those points where I'm like, I know Legion likes to play fast, and, you guys can play fast too. You guys can play slow. Legion can play slow. They don't really like to do it. They're going to push the issue. Moves started to happen, and then all of a sudden, as it's going down on the call, I'm not even sure, Colt, if you're still alive. And then all of a sudden I see you alive in that situation. Did you know it was a one-on-one? Because it looked like Malloy was pretty dialed here. I mean, he's gunned up. He's shooting cross field. So, Colt, I'll throw it to you. What's going on in your head in this situation?
Yeah, so before the penalty and everything like that happened, J-Rab had just gotten shot by either Scott or Cyrus. So they called the kill, right? They called the Ricky. So I'm like, okay, it's a 5-on-4. And then within like 10 seconds, everyone just starts dying. So like I see Trenton launch and he shoots that guy, and then I see the penalty go up. So I'm like, that's one, that's two. There's a minor. Okay, that's three. There's 4 kills. And then I go to look snake side to talk to my guys because I see Chavez die, and I'm like, okay, he must be in like 50, like the 50 snake. And I go to look right and talk to Cyrus and Scott, and they're both walking. And I'm like, what the fuck? So then I'm like, it has to be a one-on-one. And then that's when I see Bernikov feeding into the S1. And I was like, all right, let's fucking run it. And I knew at that moment it was one-on-one.
Well, and also if you look at if we run it back a little bit, Darren, you can kind of see that as So as he's kind of getting to it, he's doing he guns up like he knows exactly what's happening, and then puts his gun down and kind of saunters forward like there's no one alive. And then so Scott Colt, you were saying you think that Scott maybe shot him? Like, what was going on in the chaos here for you, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I was working with Cyrus down the tape a little bit. Mostly was looking inside, trying to help pressure because they were in that 50 brick Dorito side before Trenton went through. So if I don't keep my gun on him, I would have to, or I would get shot for sure. So I was pressuring that and then working with Cyrus. I remember when the penalty went up, I went heads up and got shot all at the same time. So that was kind of wild. But Cyrus was calling that kill, I believe, on J-Rab right before that.
So Cyrus, did you shoot J-Rob, or how did that go for you? And then, because Colt, I can't wait to get to this actually one-on-one, because it's playing a legend like Malloy is a very difficult situation, and you played it about as well as you possibly could have once we get to that point. But last bit here before we jump into the actual one-on-one victory. So Cyrus, what was going on in your head in that back spot? With Mason makes the big move, he gets these 2 kills.
And I'm pretty sure me and J-Rab trade. He shoots me and I shoot him, I think. Or he got pulled on the penalty.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't really know.
This was one that I rewatched a ton of times, and I was like, okay, well, we have to bring this moment in as a highlight, but trying to figure out exactly what happened when it was actually going down live, remembering that, going back and rewatching it a bunch of times, I'm thinking, well, I can't wait to talk to these dudes about this because it seemed like absolute chaos, but this is paintball, right? Like, this is one of those paintball points where you just have to figure it out on the fly and make it happen. And then so Colt, now once you figure it out, so that it's Malloy, did you know it's Malloy? That's the first question. You probably, okay, you said you counted the bodies, it's one-on-one. Because so as we walk through this real quick, so we're going to see Malloy go up to the Aztec, and I want everyone to really focus. If Darren, if we could just pause it here for a second, if possible. So okay, so we pause it here. So Colt is you're at the, I think you're at, well, it says that you're at the tower, but you make this backfill. You're like, I think you either go to the Dorito 2 and then backfill it at the perfect moment. But the way, so you go up here. So talk me through this, because the way you put your paintballs on the bunker, it was perfect, dude. Right, left, top, and he just came right onto a ball. It's absolutely perfect. Doesn't get better.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. So when he was in the S1, I went to the Dorito because in my head, I'm like, if I go to the Dorito, I can see the entire snake bunker, because in the tower, the Aztec was blocking just a slight bit. And I was like, I don't want him to feel comfortable. So, like, I have to get to a spot where I can play his entire bunker. And then when I get there, he ends up getting dominance. And I'm like, okay, if I'm him, I'm trying to get to a spot where I can easily hit the buzzer if I'm trying to win the point, right? Because he's down a body, right? Or down a point. So then once he gets to the Aztec, I was like, okay, I got to get to a spot where I can make sure he can't go. Because the bad part about the Dorito is as soon as I saw him leave the snake, I was like, he can just fucking go and play a dead zone, and then I'm stuck in this Dorito. So I got to go match him and match into the tower. And luckily he got there and was playing inside, thinking that I wasn't going to move. And then once I got to the tower, I saw that I had the entire Aztec and I had the entire outside of it, as in, like, I can see all the way to the start gate. He cannot win this point. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to gain dominance because he doesn't know where I am. And now that I have dominance, I'm going to do a pattern. And because it's funny, I actually talked to my brother about it, about this situation before. And in one-on-ones, I figure when I'm in a one-on-one, I try to see what people's pattern is in their gun dominance, because most people have a pattern. They just naturally end up getting into one because they're either lazy or it's just natural, right? So I was doing a pattern where I was going right, left, up, down, and then I went right back to left instead of just continuing that circle, because I was like, if he's a smart player, he's reading my pattern, he's going to try to just snap out. Yep. So I went left, and then I just immediately went back to left, and then he came right back into it.
So with people at home, go and watch this, and you can see the paint breaking off of the bunker and the pattern that he's talking about. but you kind of forced him into making a decision, and then you chose the right specific place to put your ball. When I'm coaching teams and coaching players, whether it be one-on-ones or just paintball in general, and I talk about this thing I call gunfight logic, and that you shoot your gun with intention. Every time you're shooting your gun, there's an intention behind it. Am I trying to keep you in your bunker? Am I trying to kill you? I mean, obviously, ideally it's a little bit of both, but but one-on-ones are a special creature, and it was just perfectly played against a legend. And as we always say all the time, because it's so true, if you want to be a legend, you have to beat legends. And the fact you beat Malloy in a one-on-one to give yourselves a 2-point lead was amazing, dude. That was such a huge moment for you guys and the team. And then we can just before we head in, so we're gonna head in. So it's gonna be 4-4. And then Colt, you had a really good point from this back center. With again, I got to question some of these kills though. We get a little talk from the group here. But guys, before we head into this next point with this now tied 4-4, because Legion was able to come back, which wasn't a big surprise. It's Legion; they're notorious for their comebacks. So Jonathan, we'll throw it to you here. What was going through your mind when you see Colt get that one-on-one victory?
We had it in the bag, honestly. Even if whatever happened the next couple of points, I just knew like that instilled so much confidence into each player, especially a player like Bernikov. You got to give respect to him, who's been in the game for so long, still competing at, the top of the level for what he's doing with Legion. So seeing Colt do that and just, beat him, it just felt really good and just, shot my confidence through the roof on beating Legion for sure.
And then, so Cyrus and Scott, Cyrus, we'll start with you. Obviously, they come back, they tie the score. So we're sitting at 4-4 with 1:18 left. Not a lot of time. Cyrus, what was running through your head after this comeback? I mean, they've gained some momentum. You guys had a little bit of a lead. They fought back. What are you thinking? Uh-oh. We might have lost Cyrus's audio.
Oh, I muted myself, so I
Can't
didn't
hear
make any random noises.
It's all good, dude.
But with such little time left, I went into the point with the mindset of winning it. It's because I think it's like when you go into points thinking that you just want to burn the time is when you end up losing the points. So I went in with the intention of winning and really focusing on shooting good paint back at the D side. I think as I went up, if I remember this point correctly. And then they toweled very quickly, which I was very surprised by.
Well, we'll see that in a second. And then Scott, what were you thinking in this situation? It's always the reason why there's a lot of people that watch these shows that are divisional paintball players coming up. They're looking for insights from their heroes. You guys are now the heroes. If you're a divisional paintball player and PB Fit is not your favorite team, what are you doing? Like, I understand there's a lot of fun pro teams out there to love and to follow, but these guys just did what you want to do. They hired no superstars. They did it the hard way. So that's kind of one of the reasons I'm asking these questions. So, Scott, you're in this situation here. Big moment right now. What do you think?
Going into that point, I thought we were going to have to push to close it in time. Like Cyrus kind of mentioned, they end up toweling early, which I know we're going to see here in a second. But going into it, I'm thinking, hey, we got to score in 1:18. If we're sending Cyrus up the middle, I need to be far up in that snake to hopefully bait the guy to come get me and get some of these cross kills or center kills as soon as possible so we can finish that point out.
All right, so let's jump into this point here. 4-4, barely any time on the clock. We're in the quarterfinals. You're playing Red Legion. The tournament's on the line. And then if we could pause it right here. Okay, so Cyrus, you're trying to do, and this is why it was so hard to do what you were doing. You're trying to take some ground, and you end up getting taken out. And then, but you guys do get a kill here. And I'm just wondering who shot that body. And then Cyrus, where did your kill come from, or your death?
It was definitely one of the D side guys running and gunning. They had extremely good paint back up at my spot. So we're just basically jousting every time I go up there, or even when I'm in the dead zone. So I'm just trying to put good paint back at him, but he got me in the pack on the way up there.
Yeah, and then Colt, did you? I mean, you're shooting that snake side. Did you? I mean, Cyrus is right in front of you. You see Cyrus die, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw.
And then
Cyrus
if we play
die,
it through a little, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. So, like, I thought you were gonna ask about. Are you asking who shot the corner?
Well, yeah. When we get that, that's what I'm saying, Darren. If we could just play it through here. But I'm guessing you see Cyrus die. You check back in, and then you see the death. Hopefully, I'm guessing probably for Legion. But then you get this kill on, because I think, and this, so we could pause it right here. So there's another death out of the middle right now. But pause it. But I think that you got this kill on J-Rab around that corner from that back center. So it's like, and this is where, because like Rich was kind of on you a little bit on the call, saying like, oh man, I really wish that Colt would get out of that back center a little bit more. I wasn't really saying it that much, to be honest, because when I was watching it, I'm like, yeah, man, but he's shooting bodies on the break. They're winning points. They're winning games. Like, Colt's a threat from back there. And this is one of those moments that showed it, because you see the body get out to the back corner. And this is where I keep telling like, guys that, because like some of my divisional players that I coach, they're big fans of you. And I'm like, look, you need to watch how Colt and where he puts his paintballs when he's in his spot. Because I don't care what position you play. I don't care if you're the 1, the 2, the 3. It doesn't matter. If you know what you're doing and where you're putting your paintballs with intention, this is a perfect example of that. So what was that going on in your head at that specific time? Because it looked like you caught, and I couldn't confirm it, but after I watched it a bunch of times, it looks like you caught him on a wrap. Is that what happened? Is that what you saw when you were playing?
Yeah. Are you talking about Justin?
Yeah.
So we had talked about, again, putting Cyrus in the middle, and he was like, look, I'm going to go up there, but we think, and I'm going to shoot Dorito side. So like, you're kind of the only eyes on Snake, which was fine. But when I talked to Johnny was like, look, J-Rab's going to the corner and he's just rapping to try to kill you or Cyrus every time. So I was like, okay, well, let's see if he can gunfight me. So then I was like, I'm just going to shoot off break for Bernikoff doing a delay, because what they were doing was they were sending Justin to the corner as wide back on the line as possible, and then Bernikoff would go underneath to the Snake. So he would dive into the Aztec, pop up real fast, and then dive into the Snake. So I was like, I'm going to try to kill him in that zone before, but then I'm not going to even fuck with anything about the Snake, and I'm just going to make sure that J-Rab has to gunfight me in the back center. And then his first snap, I shot him in the loader as soon as I saw that, and then looked, I see Cyrus. I do a quick wrap, and I see Kirill died. I'm immediately yelling 22 magic. Like, we killed the center guy and the wide Snake guy. Now it's just trap Malloy, not let him play paintball.
Yeah, and if we could just play this out here, Darren, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. So you can see there's only 48 seconds left on this clock, and they had to tally it right away. So now you guys, and this is the power of good play from, look, everyone is in the heart doesn't do what the lungs do, the liver doesn't do what the pancreas does. All of these things are needed for the body to walk around and ambulate around planet Earth in order to be a human being. When you're playing a pro, especially a pro paintball game, you have to have everyone dialed in. And so when I looked at this, and I was just like, man, this is a really good example of a powerful 3 and what they could possibly do in these situations. So that makes everyone's life way easier. If the back dude is shooting bodies on the break, or your runners, and Cyrus, this is why you won the MVP, because you're playing this incredibly difficult position, constantly up in the mix, being offense, being a body, that can shoot bodies on the break, and being a threat, that everyone has to worry about and adjust their game plans to. And then, John, this is why you were so good. Same with you, Stu, in all these situations. And this is why you guys won the fucking World Cup, is because all these things are happening at the same time. Like, that's the truth. When you're a divisional team and you're trying to win, you need this to happen for you, boys. Like, and girls, this is what you're trying to emulate. So it was just kind of cool. And then we have a situation. Okay, now it's 5-4. You guys are up by 1, feeling the momentum off of a really quick point concession from them. And let's run this through real quick. And then, Cyrus, talk me through this, because this was a big point for you.
So I didn't see him going up there. I was mainly focusing on trying to shoot the wide guy D side. I didn't even see him go through the zone. So by the time I got to the brick, he somehow missed me because I'm playing so far out that he should have killed me. And then he barely misses me. I see him, and then I win my first gun battle against him. And then
you stay that way
Krill
though,
runs through the
and get a
exact
free kill almost.
Yeah, then Krill runs through thinking that I'm probably dead. And then I get the D side guy too in like a couple seconds. Running through thinking that I'm dead as well, I think. So I kill him. And then at this point I know it's at least a 33, so I'm wrapping up field because I assume they're on the snake side. And then I finally
so pause it
find
right here,
J-Rab
Darren.
when I get to their side.
Yeah, so again, this was one of those examples of why you won the goddamn MVP. So you guys have a 1-point lead. You're playing Russian Legion, which is again notorious for comebacks. These dudes they've just put up historic win after historic win in these situations, and it all kind of worked out for you guys. But you go up with the game plan. It's like if I'm your coach and I'm watching this back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, thank you so much. Little 6-pound, 8-ounce little baby Jesus. I really appreciate that they ran perfectly into Cyrus's gun. But you didn't miss your shots, so it's like you get up there and we talk about reading and reacting all the time. This was a really good example of that. So you go up in there and like, he beat you there. You didn't, he got there first. He should have shot you, but he didn't. So for whatever reason, he misses his shot. You win your first gunfight. You stay on that lane. Kirill runs and just basically sacrifices his body, to let Paintball Fit win this match right into your gun. Then you stay on that lane, knowing again with the game plan, okay, well, what's my job? What am I supposed to do? So you stayed on your job. It produces 3 kills and you end up with the 4-pack. Cause I'm pretty sure you shot J-Rab, though I'm kind of questioning on the 4th one. Cause I think, was it Colt? Were you out back corner? Somebody was out back corner. I'm not sure exactly who it was, but I couldn't tell, but it looked like a 4-pack for you to close here to put the proverbial, nail in the coffin in this one.
Yeah, I shot J-Rab and then Chavez couldn't let me get my shine, so he shot me in the back of the head a bunch.
I didn't. We have that on purpose. It was an accident.
Let's watch it real quick. There it is. Yeah. I think Darren, can we play through it? There it is right there.
I apologize.
Oh, so good. Yeah. So comes through, gets a 4-pack to close, to put Red Legion, off of the board in the chess match of the tournament. And then he does so as we see the Are You Entertained? And before we head into the next 2 matches here and close it out, this next one's going to be real fun, but because it's about to get a little gritty out here for you, Cyrus. So you do that. Your signature celebration is the Are You Entertained from the Gladiator. Where did that come from?
So I was actually working on the plane ride to World Cup, and I was super bored, so I put up Gladiator because I've already watched it a bunch of times and I could work and listen to it and understand what was going on. So I watched it on the plane ride. I was like, I think I'm gonna do that all weekend, and sure enough, I definitely did it all weekend.
Well, we loved it. I thank you for that. Again, I'm just always asking. It's because this is kind of the thing with paintball. People are watching this; they would need to be entertained. That was a pretty entertaining way for you to finish things off. Okay, all right. Things are about to get pretty nasty. Let's try to keep this as succinct as possible. But I gotta ask, how much bad blood exists between you and AC Diesel? Scott and Jonathan, let's ask you guys to touch base with you guys. Scott, how much bad blood exists between you and AC Diesel? I'll just ask the simple question.
For me, I think it's mostly just a friendly rivalry or an intense rivalry. Maybe friendly is not the perfect word for it. We have very intense practices where both sides feel like the other side might be cheating them at times. So I feel like it already gets chippy in practice. So I think all these events where we get to play each other, it just continues what we feel already.
All right. So yeah, Darren, can we pause it right here? Because this is where it gets a little crazy, and it's actually off camera, so we don't really have the fit. We don't have a clip of that of BJ kind of shoulder checking Cyrus. But Jonathan, I mean, you go to battle on the D side. Everyone knows they gotta respect you, but also check you. You're a guy that does catch a decent amount of bonus balls on your team. Talk to me about this rivalry with AC Diesel, because it's about to get heated here in a second.
It's kind of like with Scott, like, you know, it's just heated practices. You know, sometimes they think, you know, I cheat because they can't simply shoot me. And I'm like, nah, man, you just don't hit me. And so they never truly believe it. And so, but it's really that just with the practices. And so, you know, and it's also a respect thing too, is that we all like, I try to respect, you know, when it comes to practicing, but then they always try to get chippy or like shoot me whenever they don't, like overshoot me when they don't need to. I was like, hey man, like, come on, I'm just trying to practice here. Like, come on now. But yeah, it is what it is now, because, you know, karma's a bitch. So
Darren, if we could just run this back real quick, and then Cyrus will bring you in here. Now, Colt, I feel like you kind of started this a little bit, just because there was a little John in the first point, maybe second point. I'd have to go back and check my notes real quick, but we got to jump into this one because this is when it gets gnarly. But there was a little chirping back and forth. And then, so Cyrus, because you definitely bonus ball BJ for sure. I mean, that's like 100%. So talk me kind of through this here, Cyrus. Were you trying to bait him into this? That's my question, right? Was this intentional?
Oh,
Was it just in the moment?
Absolutely. Well, first off, someone overshot Colt first. The first point, someone overshot Colt, and then they were talking shit, and I wasn't gonna have it. So when it was a 4-on-1 or whatever it was, I decided that whoever was in that snake was gonna wear it. I actually do really like BJ, so but he decided to run at me, and I did my best. I played 14 years of soccer, so I tried to sell it as best I could, trying to get him to play. Because I mean, he definitely ran into me.
Oh, for sure. I mean, so just real quick, let's pause it here, Darren. Again, shout out to Darren, our producer, helps make Go Sports and the world go around in paintball. But so when this is happening, and BJ definitely jumps out of his bunker to shoulder check you, and then you're doing your best to kind of sell it. And I was saying like, yeah, sell it, Cyrus, sell it. And then but so it's because, and then Colt, you know, I kind of saw the beginning and was, you know, it looked like you got a couple words for somebody, and it started to build from here. But then it's when we jump into this next clip is when it just comes completely off the rails, because Clint was out for blood. I mean, he put it on your brother anyway. So it was, and again, you know, not to be the salty old guy, but I am 1000% the salty old guy. And this is definitely how it used to be back in the day, all the time. So like I played a ton of these matches and very familiar with this territory, which is why I kind of always, and then before we jump into where it gets wild, you know, what are your guys' thoughts on this type of game? You know, like to me, this was paintball. Like this was how paintball was. We enforced it by ourselves at practice because it would get a little wild. Occasionally there'd be pushing or shoving, occasional fight, lots of bonus balls, lots of smack talk. We enforced it ourselves. Then we get to the tournaments. It was a different thing there because we got refs and, you know, official games and stuff. But I just, as a paintball fan now, all I do is get to watch the games. I see this and it just gives me a chill down my spine. I'm like, wow, this still exists. And it's two Texas teams and both of them are looking really good. And this is kind of like, this is probably my favorite game, at least until it got to the point where the penalties were flying on Fit, which we're not even going to get into that because I wasn't even a game there. Does anyone have any strong feelings on this? Like, I don't even know who to touch base with first on this before we jump into when it gets wild. Does anyone like really feel strongly about this, or is this just kind of like part of paintball for you guys too? Show of hands. Anyone want to talk on this? What do you think? I don't even know who to throw to on this one. No? Cole, what do you think, dude?
Yeah.
Happy he did it.
Happy? Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for overshooting. I do think, like, for me, like, the paint was so brittle, it didn't really like hurt, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because you're about to wear it here in this one.
Like
you had to take it on this one.
Wear it, nerd.
Yeah, no, he put a lot in, and I'm all for it. I do think that like divisional players should understand that you don't want to put it in the back of people's heads or like by their ears, right? Like there's just no point. I understand fucking up people like in the back and stuff like that. I only say that because you could actually fuck someone up, but it is paintball, so like it is what it is. That's why we wear masks, you know. So and you got I had 2 straps and a headband, so it wasn't too bad. I was more upset that I had like my jaw was like puffed out the whole day because he put like 4 in my jaw. I was like, dude, now I look stupid. But no, it's like you said, it's paintball. It is what it is.
And then, but so Scott, before we jump into this, I mean, you play a first attacker position. You're going to wear it. You're going to give it out. You're going to dish it. But a lot of the guys that take the bonus balls are those first deaths. You know, if bonus balls are going to be dished out, a lot of times it's the first guy that dies. A lot of times that's going to be the first attacker where you go bunker the guy or get dinked out, whatever it may be. But what are your thoughts on this before we descend into this paintball madness that we're about to see in a second here?
It's all part of paintball. I definitely do my fair share of giving it to people when I have the opportunity. So I understand it's going to come back around eventually, and that's just part of how it goes. I feel like as long as you're not actually trying to hurt someone, like in all sports, or at least in all sports I played football mostly growing up. So like you go out like trying to hurt someone, but like you don't really want to hurt them. You just have to go with that intention, right? So that's how I play paintball as well. I'm going out there, quote unquote, trying to hurt someone, but I don't actually want anyone to get seriously hurt, right? But you have to have that killer mindset, so to speak, when you play. So I expect people to have the same thing. And when it comes to playing in a high competition, Sunday especially, like I don't expect anyone to try and be nice to me on that day. It's like it's all out.
All right, so let's run through this here. So the situation is a 4-on-3 moment, and you guys are actually in a really good spot. We do have Brody in the chat as well too. This is actually kind of so Brody has some good moments coming up, but this is a tough one actually because so Brody, who played well for you guys, but he gets in this spot and he dies out of this position, and it puts it in this very interesting 3-on-3. So let's run this out here, Darren. All right, so we got some action. So yeah, Fit looking pretty good with the crossfield spread. Jonathan, you're in D3, what we were calling D3, and then Brody is all the way up in the 50-yard line. So, you know, and it was looking really good for you guys. Time match, 7:34 on the clock, looking like, all right, well, Fit's been looking pretty good. They probably should close out this high body situation. But then Brody loses this gunfight coming up here. I mean, Colt, what was running through your head in this situation? What are you screaming to everybody? You know, with a lot of time left to go, even on the spread, on the point spread, but up a body.
So I thought I knew the situation, and looking at it like back now, I fucking was right. We were arguing the whole time whether or not there was a wide Dorito. That's why you saw Chavez the way he's playing and snapping down the wire, even though the widest guy was the back center. But what happened was
sorry, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt, but Darren, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt Colt, but Darren, pause it and rewind it. And then Colt, watch all the bonus balls your brother's about to get right now. Because this is where it starts. Like, so, and this is Clint. I'm pretty sure this is Clint both times. So like, sorry, Clint. Continue, but I just want to highlight this. So, okay. So Brody gets shot. He comes out of there and then look at his back. I mean, 6 to 10. I mean, you probably.
That's my thing is like, Clint was doing that all Sunday, right? He did it to Jonah. He literally like,
Zach
or
Patient.
maybe it was Sam. I don't know. He's one of the infamous.
Yeah,
it was Zach.
Zach Patient.
Patient. So much into him. My thing is, I'm like, bro, you're not even the guy who got the kill. If you're gonna overshoot someone, be the guy who shot him. That's my mentality, right? Like overshooting a guy that you didn't even kill, in my opinion, is probably the pussiest thing in paintball. But you know, teach their own. So he does that to Brody, and I see Brody getting blown up because I'm in the back center, and I'm like, what the fuck? All right, like, is what it is, right? We're in a grudge match.
So you did see it though. You did see it.
Yeah, that's why I end up filling out because it's
okay.
He got blown up, and I see him die, and I'm like, who the fuck did he just die to? And then I'm like, they have to be, because at this point, we don't know if Clint is in the snake corner or the snake. But I'm like, if I'm him and I killed their snake, I'm in the snake immediately and I'm crawling. So then I knew I had to get out there. But I do wish that we would have figured out that situation earlier with the D side because we thought we knew it with them not being out wide. And I think if we know that and we confirm it, Chavez would already have won this point super fast. But
Well, can we throw it to Jonathan, can we throw it to you? Pause it real quick, Darren. Jonathan, what's going on in your head, right? Did you not feel any pressure down that sideline? Did you feel that there was somebody over there? I mean, this was a big moment. Obviously, it ends up going your way because of the penalty, but Clint went from being on the list to get the $5,000 from Pate Smith Law to possibly getting the money from David Pando with the biggest bonehead move of the tournament in like a 2-second situation. So but what was going on in your head over there out wide on that D side with no one in front of you? Were you not like what was stopping you?
From what I remember, I personally don't think I knew there was anybody in front of me, but I was just cautioning it because I knew if I did push the issue, if I did try gun battling and someone just comes out and shoots me, I fucked us. Especially because we have calls when we lose our guys. Whenever I heard Brody die, I was like, oh shit, like something's happening on Snake's side. Let me make sure, I don't just fucking go. And the next thing I die too. And, we're just in a shitty situation to where it went from a 5-on-3 down to, a 2-on-2 or 4-on-3 down to a 2-on-3, So I was just more cautionate that way. And I knew, I honestly can't remember if Jesse was the one or if we killed him or not. So, and I knew he kind of wants to be a gunfighter and he wants to fight. And so I just honestly just valuing my body and making sure I can't die. I literally cannot die here, especially with the real estate that I had. And before realizing that Brody was already on their side, the field with the snake is Brody could win it. Just need to value my body, make sure, I don't just run and die, because if I do, then I can just fuck my whole team.
Yeah. All right. So let's run it here, Darren. So again, 2-2, now we're down under 5 minutes. And then we got the retreat here, cost the body. Stewart, that was you. Yeah.
Yep.
So what was going on in your head during that retreat? And then Colt, you make the nice fill out here to the back corner. So Stewart, why did you make that retreat?
I was looking to reposition to help Chavez push down that side. I knew it was just the one guy after he filled out wide. And then we had Chavez already basically matched with them or even. In hindsight, I wish I would have played the snake guys heavier, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, again, dudes are going to get shot. This is part of the, it's part of the deal, right? You're not ever going to run through it. I always tell, again, teams I coach, I'm like, hey man, if we do this well enough, or we win more than half, if we win 60% of the engagements, we go undefeated and we win the tournament. That's a big ask, but that's what's required out here. So you're going to get shot. Don't get too frustrated when it happens. Just try to figure out the lesson from that loss, that point loss, and let's move on, because we're going to have another one. And I need your head out of your ass. But do you know where that shot came from? And just asking real quick, because I don't hate that tactical retreat, and that's another thing. Hey, divisional players, you guys rarely tactical retreat, and pros do almost all the time. Not all the time, but it's part of their arsenal of looks to give to their opponents, and we don't really see that too much out of semi-pro teams, way less out of divisional teams, whereas pros do it constantly. So I don't hate your tactical retreat at all. I just was kind of these are the questions we got to ask in these situations, because then that death happens, and then that kind of sets up Clint's move, because now Clint doesn't have to worry about that angle.
Yeah, I believe the snake guy just pushed a little bit further than I realized he was, and caught me in the back as I moved up there.
Yeah, which is totally understandable given this snake. All right, Darren, let's run it here. So Colt, you've now made the move out here. And then Colt, I'll kind of throw it to you. What's going on in your head right now? You've made it out alive. You're loading your last pod. Chavez, you got one. You're out of paint too. It's getting down to it. It's a long point.
I'm getting irritated because neither one will kind of snap with me. They kind of just keep head checking, and I'm now it went from a 4-on-3 to a 2-on-3, and I'm like, motherfucker, I need to shoot a guy. And they were playing it smart, right? They're not playing the idiots. So in my head, I'm like, okay, fuck, they're not going to be an idiot and just give me a free kill with trying to fight me. So then I'm talking to Chavez, and we're talking about the situation, and he's calling that they're on D side, but he lost him. So then I'm like, fuck me. All right, so now it's a 2-on-3. We don't know where they're at on D side, trying to find Silos. And then that's when I was sitting there. Honestly, I knew it was coming from Clint, and I should have trusted my instincts and wrapped the inside. But I was scared that because it was a danger, or like we didn't know where they were on D side, that he would just get that blind shot. Because even where he is now, I mean, I probably wouldn't have made that move. Because from the tower, you can shoot the snake corner. So in my head, I'm like, fuck me, he's going to shoot me. And then he shoots him, calls the kill, and I'm like, okay, cool. And I check the inside, and I'm trying to find Clint, trying to find Mark, and I can't find him. So I come back heads up, and then that's when Clint made the perfect move. Literally right when I started wrapping the outside, and then, let me wear it.
So we could just, pause it right here, and even run it back. Darren, if we could run it back a little bit, because then, Jonathan, so on that D side, it gets a little chaotic over there as well, too. Yeah, Scott's laughing because, like, look at this. Look at Clint go. That's as headhunting as it gets right there. Like, you cannot headhunt more than that. Like, it's not any more blatant than that, which is why you got that penalty. So we'll get there in a second.
Textbook.
But Jonathan, yeah, it's like literally if they want to pull out the Webster's dictionary of headhunting for a overshooting penalty, that's what it's going to look like. It gets worse, unfortunately, for Clint here in a second. But hold on, let's pause it here. Let's save it, Darren, save. Oh no, okay, all right. So yeah, that's still great. Yeah, Clint. I even said it. I said it in the actual show because that happens, and I was looking over at the other side. I was looking at what happened with you, Jonathan. I was like, okay, there goes this action, and then that goes down. I see him. I see Clint, bunker out Colt, and I'm thinking, okay. Great move from Clint. He saved the point. And then I go to look at the time and I'm thinking, so I need to make the call, right? So the call is, all right, there's 2:41 left. I need to start to crescendo up and make a big call. And then, so I go to, and there's a clock right ahead of me. And as I look at the clock, and then all of a sudden Rich is like, oh, he pushed the ref. So like, I didn't see that actually happen. And anyway, but before we even get to that, so Jonathan, if we could trail it back a little bit here, Darren, because this D side battle was interesting. This is another one of those situations. If we can, so we kind of track it back. Oh wait, no, yeah. Because so you're at this 50, right? So you crawled up to the 50. Silos had made his move outside wide. And maybe, if we could play it out here and you could talk me through this before we head into the next spot.
Yeah, no, I was honestly, that's who I was just trying to find. Once I found him and realized it was just me and Cole, like, okay, I have to kill this guy. If we want a chance to, flip it back onto them or like make it a fair, like even, he has to die in front of me. Like either like I get a shot on him or I push forward and hopefully like Clint doesn't see me and I get a shot on him as well, which, is not going to happen. I was like, I had to kill Silos. I had to kill this one guy. That way I can take all this real estate and flip the field on Ice because Ice was supporting Clint and the snake. And then once I got that kill, I was like, perfect. Now it puts Colt in a better position because he doesn't have to worry about a D-side guy, lobbing stuff over the bricks, trying to, get a sneak one in on Colt. So once I killed him, I was like, perfect, flip the field, start shooting at Ice. And I think Ice dies too. And then that's whenever I see Clint launch. Like I kind of like saw a sliver of just like flash. I was like, oh shit. But then all that fiasco went down. And, that's whenever they hit the buzzer. And I was like, oh, I thought it was us because maybe Colt shot him. He got a penalty. But then, of course, the story unfolds, and it's Clint hits the buzzer, and he does my boy dirty, and then of course, punches him, hits a ref. So, but we watched. That was going through my head.
Yeah, so we watched that again, and then so Clint goes headhunting, blows you up, Colt, and then he goes. It was actually a really nice move from Clint until he decided to punish you, and then he hits the buzzer. He said, which we'll see the clip in a second here with Cyrus is in paintball prison as well too. Clint shaking his head, frustrated. He obviously, and then let's rewatch this. So he comes through. I mean, that's about as blatant as it gets, dude. It doesn't get any more blatant than that. and I love Clint Johnson, but he made a mental mistake here after a beautiful move, and he goes in and hits the buzzer clean. And then that would have been, this was the big swing point. And this is, again, Cyrus, why I was giving you props, because it's like you kind of suckered Diesel into this brutal match by overshooting BJ. He fell for the trap and shoulder checked you. You guys both get chucked out. So we got 2 dudes in paintball jail. And then Clint's out for blood after that, bonus balling everyone, and he let his emotions get the best of him because it looked like the ref was just maybe, hey, dude, are you hit on your shoulder? Or, like what's going on here? And then he kind of shoulder checks him back.
I think because I had a great view from the score table, and so like he like, I don't know why he did it, but BJ was so sad that he did it. Also, I also might have talked shit to Ice and Clint after I dunked BJ because I knew I could probably get in their heads too. So that was, I'm sure they were a little more feisty after that because they definitely were like, oh, we're doing that.
Well, I'm just wondering, did you play sports growing up? Where did you get all this wily, like Rainey Stanzik type or Oliver Lang type head game? Because like this is stuff we don't normally see. Like it's been a while since I've seen this in the game. Again, I'm not going to say I'm mad because it's some overshooting and hey, welcome to pro paintball. This is just kind of how it is. But the fact that and here's Mark and at this point in time, if we had audio on this, he's basically like, "What are you doing?" He's very frustrated. Clint has to take a knee, and then he comes in, and then they get a little flustered here where, so it's tied up. No one knows exactly what's going to happen. Mark comes back in, and he's like, you guys need to get your stuff together. I'm trying to get my stuff together here. And then he goes, let me get, paraphrasing, but he's like, let me get Silos, Ice, Clint. Wait, Clint's in jail. Ice. Wait, hold on. I already said Ice. It's just, you can kind of see like they're out of the game, man. Like they've now been removed from the mental tenacity, the diamond point sharpness that you need to keep in these situations. And guys are trying to wrangle them back. Greg Pauly comes in at one point and says, hey, all we can focus is, is on the next point. I think that was a couple points in after a couple penalties. But honestly, this was the moment, because after this, it was over, dude. Like Clint had hit one of the refs, and the refs were out for blood after this. They were getting no benefit of the doubt. If they got even like the tiniest glimpse of a hit, they're getting a penalty. Did you guys notice that when it was happening? I mean, I rewatched a lot of this. I'm not saying every penalty wasn't deserved, but it's just kind of one of those things where it's like they have just now removed any benefit of the doubt, which you definitely need when you're playing the game. Did you realize that the momentum had definitely? I'd see everyone kind of shaking their head like, yeah. Scott, what do you think?
When he got a minor, I was like, oh, they're fucked. Like I was like, how do you get a minor 2-on-5? Like that, as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, they're still not past it.
Yeah, and then Cyrus, what were you thinking? Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I feel like when we went out to play the 5-on-2, we even said, I don't remember if it was in our pit or on the box, like make them get a minor, make them get a penalty, make them start down again, and of course you're just saying that to hype each other up and get excited, but that was definitely in our mindset as well, as like we're kind of in their head now. If Clint just did that, like it's not over, we can definitely still get them to get more penalties and make this implode.
So again, we're in the semifinals, and then Cyrus, what was going on in the jail? So we're in paintball prison. You got Jason in there as the commissioner. Did you officially get put in? Because I was never told. Did you officially get put in paintball prison for the overshooting? Because now you're in there with BJ. He obviously got it for the physical contact. And then Clint comes in, and it's not, you can't hear the audio here, but he's basically saying, I think the exact quote was, let me find it real quick. Yeah, so yeah, it was crazy, but he was like, hey, everyone go back and hit the rewind. He was like, go back and hit the rewind button. No one touches a Johnson jersey. He's like, the first touch is for free, but the next one's going to cost you. And then he said something like, he hit me first. He's like, go back and watch it. But Mark walks in and asks Jason, he's like, hey, can the refs physically touch a player or whatever? It was getting crazy, but Cyrus, you were right there. What did you hear? What was going down? And then you had said something too kind of funny. I couldn't tell what was said towards the end with the audio, but you're our star witness here. So give me the situation.
So obviously Clint and Mark were pretty hot still, and Jason had went to go talk to Ahau, and Clint actually like went and like started rewinding it and watching it himself, trying to find anything that he could yell at about and try to throw it back on the ref's fault. So he was like watching it, and then from one of the point of views, it looked like the ref actually like touched him first. So then they were just adamant that the ref had touched him first. And then they were just screaming at the score table, and Jason like turned around and was like basically like, why are you touching my stuff? He's like, no, you're starting with 2. He just kept saying like, you're starting with 2. You're starting with 2. Like they definitely, like, when you're trying to plead your case, don't piss off the guy that you're trying to plead your case to, right? But towards the end, I definitely made a joke. I'm like, I'm starting to get outnumbered. I need another fit guy.
That's what it was. I couldn't tell what you had said, but that makes so much sense. Oh, it's great. Oh, it's like we try to mic up as many things as possible, but I didn't think we'd have to mic up the score booth. Oh, that's crazy. All right, so then it's pretty much over after this, and that's essentially the story of this game was all the points we just talked about, because once Clint hit that ref, that was it. I mean, they got like I said, no benefit of the doubt. Every single thing was thrown. They was just penalty after penalty after penalty. You guys started to run up the score. It was a close game before that, but essentially it was, going to be PB Fit without a doubt after that moment. Even though and there wasn't a ton of time on the clock, but as we kind of head into this final match, did you kind of, as we see, Scott walking off here, but did you guys kind of again, like I said, I already asked this question a little bit, but when did it set in? Like, oh, this game's over. Like, we're winning this game. We need to start focusing on this next final match. We're going on to the finals at World Cup. Like, this is happening. This is real. This is our real lives right now. Colt, I'll start with you. What do you think?
I would say like I said before, kind of like right after that 2-on-5 that they got the minor, I was just like, there's no possible way that these guys are going to come back on us. And it already started setting in that, like, we're about to go play the finals. Like, it at that moment for me, like, I knew that they were mentally defeated, and as long as we weren't idiots, we'd be fine. So, like, I even came into the pit, and somebody said something about, like, let's go fuck them up. And my brother Johnny was like, nobody better fuck up anyone, and everyone better call on everyone and say, please get out, sir. That's how you need to play, because they will throw any kind of thing they can, because now that's the end of the match. So that's kind of like, you see, like, I'm pretty sure at this moment, because like you see how serious Johnny is, and then me and Chavez are laughing, and it's like, hey, fucker, it's not over yet, and you guys better not do anything fucking stupid. He kind of kept us grounded, I feel like.
Always
hey,
does.
Everyone needs that guy in the pits. Hey, those dudes are worth their weight in gold. Again, takes a team, as Marcus Nielsen used to say, teamwork makes the dream work. But okay, so then let's move on. So we're in the finals now. Things have gone really bad for you guys. There was a no point in the beginning, and then the points are relatively close, but you guys are now sitting on a 2-0 deficit with 1 minute and 10 seconds left. It's looking like, okay, Fit ran out of gas, whatever. They didn't have not enough experience, whatever. It's just, that's what it's looking like. It's like, okay, Impact is a team that's won many tournaments. They got all-stars on their squad. Let's pause it real quick here, Darren. And then if we could actually, so we need to bring Brody in right now. So Scott, I got to ask you to take a seat. Actually, no, Cyrus, you got to go because you didn't play these 2 points. But then we got to bring Cyrus back for the final. Yeah, so Cyrus gets that, even though Yeah, but Cyrus, hey, dude, he still won the MVP, but you were not a factor in these two moments. You know, so we got to bring Brody in here because this is a big moment for Brody, and I want to touch base with Brody and talk to him about this because, like, Jesus Christ, dude, not a lot of people get a moment like this where it's like, all right, so Cyrus and Scott are getting most of the spins over here. You know, like Brody's getting spins, but then they bring in Brody for the. So you guys are down 2 with 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and I had said this on the Spick and Span show. Check out Spick and Span Tuesdays at 4. But if we ran this back 100 times, again, no disrespect to you guys, but if Edmonton Impact is up on you guys in the finals with down by 2 with 1 minute and 10 seconds left at 100 times, like how many times does that go your guys' way? You know, it's like that's how good you guys played in this moment, and how they didn't get, you know, they didn't really have an answer for you guys. You know, like and it just goes to show you, because somebody had said this, or I think it was Cyrus that said this earlier, where it was like, could we get we need Stewart back in here though, because like Stewart was definitely involved in this. But I don't know, Colt, what do you think, man? I mean, realistically, we run this back 100 times. You guys are down by 2 to Impact. I know you love your boys and you're super confident, and I appreciate that about you guys, but this is a miraculous paintball moment right here, brother. Like this was one of those situations where it's like, wow, like you did it. Unbelievable, you know? 99 times, says Cyrus in the chat. Okay. All right, cool. Colt, what do you think? Realistically, I'm serious. I'm having a serious conversation with you. Don't be modest, says Scott.
No,
Cyrus,
no,
you didn't even play these points.
I think realistically, in the pro division, I think up 2-0 on anyone with a minute left, I think realistically the team wins 10% of the time. I think that has to be around the odds, because I think everyone is good enough to win those points, but everyone's also really good at not letting teams win those points. At least 2 30-second points, right? So, I mean, realistically, I'd say 10% chance.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But that's how amazing this is, right? Okay, so then, all right, Brody, welcome to the show. So Brody, I got to touch base with you, brother, because I was watching this and I was like, hey, you had some good points out there, but they bring you in here with you're down. You haven't scored a point. There's 15 minutes in regulation. There's 1 minute and 10 seconds left. You guys you're sitting on a goose egg here. You haven't scored a point yet. So now you got to score 2 in 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and you're the tip of the spear. You're the guy going to the snake. What's going through your head, brother?
Oh, so it actually all started after we lost that second point. It was whenever Colt came back. This dude is fucking pissed, and I can like see it in his eyes, right? And the dude fucking locks eyes with me, and he gives me the fucking look, like, you know, whenever your dude's like you're about to go fuck someone up, he gives me that look. He's like, Brody, I need you in the.
Oh no, we lost.
Oh no.
Oh no! No, Brody, we have to get you in this one. This is your moment,
Brody.
Brody, drive to Colt's house.
Okay,
5 minutes away. Oh, he's back. All right. Yeah. So they're about to let the dog off the leash.
Is it better now?
We got you back.
All right. That just happened, and like, you know, whenever like you get like a shiver through your whole fucking body. That happened. Like, Kevin Colt told me that. Like, that fucking shiver ran through me, and I just started grinning. I was like, dude, I'm gonna fuck these dudes up. I went there and I could see Scott. He had the same fucking look, and I'm like, dude, we got this shit. Put my fucking mask on. Wait for Colt to go forward. Colt has to go forward first into the fucking net. This is how it works. Let Colt go forward first. Go through him. And I'm getting ready with Scott. And I'm like, you ready, Scott? He's like, yeah. I'm just fucking sitting there on the boxes at 5 seconds. And in my mind, I know I need to get there and I need to crawl as fast as I fucking can. Get to this fucking 3 and shut this Delta down. That's my goddamn job. I'm going to do it right now. And that's kind of what went through my head.
What was the delta for you? What was the delta for you guys, for people looking at it on the screen?
That little lay down on Rita's side.
Okay.
Where
All right.
is.
The first
okay.
lay down
on
the side to the right of the home. I'm not going to allow that dude to play paintball inside. We're going to allow our mid to punch through and get a lot of kills, and then we're going to clean up. But if I can get there before he can do anything and crawl fast enough, we can do it. And I was like, I can fucking do this. Fuck this.
So
especially whenever I got that look from Colt, I was like, all right.
Dude, okay,
Explain
it
what he
ends up
told you
working
again.
it works out perfect for you guys. So then, John, what's going through your head? You got to take ground here as we were kind of watching the play out. Talk me through this. Pause right. Let's pause right. Wait, hold on. Let's let him take some ground here, Darren. Let him get to that middle. So yeah, John, but then you walk off here. All right. So what's going on in your head? Because you now got a good look. You're looking at the attack, even though you're walking off.
So I knew like I had to draw all the guns because the punch was coming from the snake / the middle. So if I can pull the guys, especially the Cobra guy, towards me, if he sees me just flash, he's going to try to adjust for me to go forward. And that allows Colt and Trent to both, as you can see, go up the middle and, pick off the guys. And as long as I'm able to do that and honestly shoot back, and my whole point was shooting back at the Cobra. That way, if I do get a ball on him, that's even better, And I was just really just trying to push the issue on that side and making sure like I'm pulling the guns, so it allows Trenton and Colt just to release. And Colt actually does get a shot on Mike here, and no penalty assist, but it is what it is, But
oh yeah, that was just my watch this real quick.
100%.
But yeah, we'll watch this real quick, everyone. So Mikey's about to get hit in his arm, right there.
Boom.
Okay, pause it. All right, now look at the time code. 46 seconds left. Now play it out, Darren.
46.
Still playing. Still playing, and then comes
Yeah,
off. So we're looking at like a and then pause it right here. Because Scott, what's running through your head here? Because you were kind of hero for when I was looking at MVPs, I'm like, man, this is really tough. Stewart had these like big moments. What was going through your head here, dude?
Yeah, so I was playing that corner and I was trying to put extra pressure on the home player or that back center, so Brody could have more freedom to crawl around those bunkers and not feel so much pressure. And then as I saw Brody get set up in his spot, I come back to the inside and I see Trent and Colt both on the other team's side. I know me sprinting by Brody and the snake's not going to help, so I come through the middle to try and clean it up. And as I do, I'm starting to see all the snake bodies walk off. And I didn't know where exactly he was on the Dorito side, so I don't think there was a good angle there of it. But I'm kind of switching hands and looking back and forth until I hear him shoot in that mini W again. And that's when I just jumped over and got him and finished the point off real quick.
Oh, it was so pretty. It worked out absolutely perfect. So, yeah, Chavez draws the guns. And then you guys took position in that middle, and then you came through at the perfect time. The referee's checking you out. Thumbs up means the point is good. So now we got 37 seconds left. The crowd is going absolutely apeshit here in Orlando for PB Fit. It was like a hometown event for you guys. If we could pause it right here, Darren. We haven't had the this conversation yet, and we're getting to the end of it here. So I got to ask, how much was the crowd a factor for you guys? Because it didn't matter who you played. Tampa Bay Damage. They live, an hour away. It was like a hometown crowd for you guys, early in the morning. It was just like the Texas travels well. So like, how much was that an issue as for you guys, as far as like a positive, steroid boost for your attacking souls going into this moment down by 1 with 37 seconds left to go? Colt, what do you think?
Man, it was massive. It was unreal, right? Because like, you could feel the quiet of like, we're down 2-0 with a minute left. Like it was like, most people don't win that, right? So that you could kind of feel the crowd quiet down a little bit. But then right after we won that point, that eruption was just like, I knew that it was fucking with Impact's head. And it made me even more amped because I knew how hyped I got. And I was like, dude, I know that's fucking with them over there. And then I was just kind of like, all right, let's go do it again. Now we have 7 more seconds than that one took, right? Like that took 30 seconds. We have 37 seconds left. So as I'm walking, Scott hits the buzzer and I'm looking up at the tower and I'm reading the time we have left and understanding, dude, I have 38 seconds left. I'm like, I don't even really need to go get ready. I just got to clean off this paint and I'm just going to stare at these dudes' pits so they understand the amount of positivity that like I have coursing through my veins that I'm about to win this. Because I know that has to fuck with you mentally. So, like, I'm just standing over there. And then our pit guy brings me paint, and I'm like, nah, man, like I'm good. I'll just take like a hopper top so I can get a kill off break. And then I look down and my gun's at like less than 1,000 air, and I'm like, oh fuck. So then I had to run and go get air. But just standing there watching their pits for like a solid 20 seconds was like, okay, they're frantic. They're not confident right now at all.
So it just real quick, so we could run this back here a little bit, Darren, in the pits. Look at the confidence. This is when I talked to earlier in the show about confidence on Sunday. Like the confidence that you guys have, like, dude, Jonathan, you are absolutely dialed in. You're laughing. You're like giggling with glee at the war that's about to go down. Cyrus looks laser focused. Colt didn't even come off the field. And that was what we even were talking about that. We're like, oh, that's like maybe is an intimidation factor. He doesn't need the rest. No, because like I'm a big MMA fan. And so sometimes you watch these fights and a guy will, get pummeled in a round, and the dude that did the pummeling doesn't need a rest. So he just kind of stands there, doesn't even need to take the chair. And he's like, yeah, I literally don't need a rest. And you need a rest because I just beat your ass. And like it's coming for you again in this next round, So like there's the intimidation thing. And I didn't know if that was something consciously you were doing. And then we were kind of talking like, because Ryan had said, Greenspan was on the call. And he was like, yeah, I mean, the only reason he would come off is he needed air. And I guess that was the case. So that did make sense because you definitely need a little bit more than that. But it was tight. And then, Jonathan, with you in the pits, like you look like a gladiator who loves, cutting people's heads off about to go into another fight. Dude, you were like in your moment. It just, I don't know if we could track that back there, Darren, but it was just, you were just like cackling with glee almost like, yeah, let's do it. You guys are down by 1 in the World Cup finals. Like that's a crazy moment to just kind of be cackling with glee,
Just real quick,
what's going on in your head?
Well, I just knew at that moment, like we fucking had it, like with that point, and then that eruption alone, just hearing that crowd just go from, like how you said, it was dead quiet. Like you can possibly hear like, quarters, pennies drop into the bleachers. That's how quiet it was. Cause down 2, minute, whatever left, most teams don't come back from that, historically, statistically, it's practically impossible to come back from that. And so just being able to do it with the boys that I care about the most, or men that I care about the most, it filled my heart. And honestly, whenever that happens, like nobody can stop me, honestly. Like, and I just knew we had that shit in the bag, because every time I looked around to my boys, they were just smiling right with me, and their eyes are just pure energy. I can just feed off their eyes. That's how much energy was just going off, after that first point. And then it also helps whenever Casey, our coach, him coming up to you and she's like, yeah, you like that shit? And I'm just like, fuck yeah, I do. Let's do it again. And so just everything, just feeding everybody into me, just, I don't know. I could run through a fucking brick wall for these boys if I wanted to. So,
but you definitely have.
And I
weigh Brody.
120.
So then, yeah, dude, you're 120, 10 foot tall, bro. Get out of here, dude. It's on the paintball field. You are 10 feet tall, 400 pounds. Jesus Christ, everyone's scared of you. So Brody, let's go to you. So we're heading in this next point. There's a minute 20 seconds left to go before the start of the next one. You're down by 1. You get the call again. That's like, okay,
bro.
All right. But let's do it again.
I got the call
now
again.
What's going through your head?
Yeah, I see Colt still in the field, bro, and I'm like, all right, this dude's fucking gotta be in it, right? So I'm like keeping my mask on. I'm like trying to hype myself up a little bit. I'm like, all right, if I get the call, I'm gonna do it again. And the Casey tells me I'm in again. I'm like, fuck yeah. All right, we're gonna go, and I'm actually gonna be way more aggressive this time. Because I got to the 3 and I was like, I need to get even fast last time, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get to 3, I'm gonna do my job, but I'm gonna go even further. That's my plan this time. But see Colt come back, and everyone's still smiling, just like Chavez saying, and I'm like, we're gonna fucking win. Like in my mind, I was like, we're winning. This is happening. I just didn't allow the loss to get into anything. It was just like, yeah, we're gonna win.
Let me ask you this question, guys. I would appreciate some honest answers here, but I gotta ask it. I've been in these situations before. It's hard, I mean, how many people, like by a show of hands, did you really think you're winning this game? Like, was it like in your mind, like we're winning this game no matter what? Everyone, like it was no doubter, like we're winning this game. Yeah, that's what I thought, because like if you have any shredded doubt, it's not going to happen for you. Like no matter what the situation is, you have to have that belief. You can look back later and go, oh, that was unrealistic of me to have that ask of the universe. But in the moment, you really have to truly be a full send on the intention of this is what's going to happen or it's not going to happen. And then Scott, because what were you thinking in your head in this situation here? I mean, because you been carrying a lot of weight for the team for the most of the tournament, haven't got much of a rest. You got 36 seconds left to win this point to at least push it to overtime. What were you thinking?
I was thinking we were definitely going to make it happen. Me and Johnny talked in the pits there. I needed to get an even better shot on the home, hopefully shoot him off the break this time. Because as I'm running out to the snake side corner, that's kind of my job, is pressuring that guy. And I think if we can get another kill off the break, we can definitely make it happen.
All right, so let's jump into this huge moment here. So it's, again, down by 1, tournament on the line, just micro specks of time left on the clock, and it's 5 on 5. There's no advantage. Let's start this. This is going to be great. All right, so and then pause it right here. All right. So it does look like we got the graphic a little bit. Anyway, so Chavez, talk me through like the ground you took on this one. You're wrapping around from that spot, from all the way around D3, like off the break. And you guys get that early kill.
Yeah, so that's pretty much, I knew, like, if I get there and especially shoot that to the left, like that home, and then to the left of it where the snake side's at, and just kill anybody trying to do like a delay, that's huge, because that's just one less guy that I have to worry about, especially that snake side can stop me from, going. So I kill him, and I'm able to push, and, even I think Trenton gets caught or actually catches a ball for me as we move up at the same time, which allowed me to go to like their D, like what? I'm looking at the screen. I guess y'all call it D3. Like towards the end to shoot, help pinch out. What's his name? Justin Cornell in the snake with Scott.
Yeah, so run it through here, Darren. So PB Fit's pushing the issue. Impact's trying to hold the line. Body comes off early from the left side. Another body comes off. Yeah. Yeah, so now it's perfect. You guys have another situation where you're high on bodies. You have all the ground. And then the close happens. And then pause it right here, Darren. We lose a body. Did you guys realize it was in the bag at this point to tie it up? Like, yeah, right here. Jonathan, go ahead.
Okay, I was just saying that's pretty much the spot where like trying to release up the middle, and then I was going past the 350, and he caught that one from Cornell, and it allowed me to get to their 3-3 and even push, the issue against Cornell, and that what we call the Delta, the mini W. He actually just pretty much gave me his body by popping the top, because I knew he was also one of the last few bodies, and so pretty much just focused on him. As I got to the Dorito, he gave me just a sliver, pieced him up, and then just saved Cornell for last along with Scott, because I knew he was the last guy and our snake side was pushing the issue. So if I can just apply so much pressure to him pushing our snake guy, then get some, pack shots or something, and hopefully maybe spin and get a penalty. You never know.
Yeah, no, it didn't happen, but like it was but there's 13 seconds on the clock. Like the bodies are getting peeled off. And then Brody, Scott, for you guys and the Colt, like things are going really well on the D side. Were you just feeling no pressure at all? One of those situations where it's like anyone that's played enough paintball, those perfect points, right? Where it's like somebody's doing work and you're going through and you're making your moves, like, okay, I got to push forward. I got to take this ground. But all of a sudden you're just looking up and you're just seeing bodies in front of you just peeling off. And you're like, oh God, Jesus Christ, this is going perfect. We might get this. I think we're going to tie this one up. So Brody, what was going through your head here in the snake?
Bro, it was a lot of counting the bodies really quick, coming off, and I was like guessing, pretty sure, because I knew my job on the Delta. I knew he was there the whole time, and I knew that this guy in the snake was in front of me the whole time. So I was guaranteed, and I was like, they have to be the last ones left. And then right whenever I see Chavez shoot that guy, I was like, we got to go. And then Scott's coming behind me, and at that point, he's like, Brody, we got to go. And I'm like, and I went for it. And JC gets a really good head check outside, sees me, and then pops over the top and catches me. And I'm shooting on the outside because I see him head check. Scott came behind me and cleans that up. But it only happened because Bobby got that shot on the Delta. With that guy coming up, because I'm stuck, because I know if I try to streak, that Delta is taking me out, and I'm trying to find a way to get a shot on him. And then whenever I see the dude dead, I'm like, we got to go. Like, holy fuck, we just won this. And that's kind of what's going through my head.
Yeah, and this was that perfect. This is like the boxing metaphor, the 1-2-3 combo. It's like the jab sets up the overhand right, which sets up the hook, which sets up the undercut, because they just didn't really have an answer. So it's like you guys are streaking up the field right now. Yeah, a couple bodies dropping here or there, but hey man, that's how it needs to go. People have to sacrifice their bodies for us to get this win or to get this tie to actually have a chance to get a win. So Darren, if we just run this out here. And with just 13 seconds left to go, so bodies are dropping, and you see those two in the snake still, with just 2 bodies left, and then JC, and then so Scott, you and Xavi collide in here. So Scott, what do you think? Did you get it first? Did John get it first? Who got this one here? 2 seconds left.
I got it just before he did. He was actually telling me to stop. He was worried that I might be hit or something from the JC situation. He was like, hold on, stop, wait. And he was going to jump and hit it because he knew he didn't take heat, and he just saw JC looking at me as I went and got him. So he was like, wait. Like he was afraid I was going to have some sort of pain on me and get a penalty. But
you guys only had 2 seconds left. There wasn't a chance. There wasn't a chance. It's a good thing that
no chance, but I was still there. We were hitting it. Same time, but like,
I'm good, baby. I'm good. I'm totally fine.
Pretty much,
right. And just a couple events earlier, we played the diesel match. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, Chavi.
Oh no, just go ahead. Just saying that. Just like just no. Like just like I got it. It's like because I didn't know. Like I personally didn't know Cornell shot him or whatnot, even though he had all kinds of hits on his pack. I'm like, hey man, but we're good.
Yeah. So now, and
again, I just want
to give a big, just real quick. I just wanted to, because we got you guys here. We don't have Mason here. Apologies. It gets a little crowded with this many people, and I wanted to bring Brody in because Brody, you had these big moments, but like Mason played his ass off this entire weekend, dude. He was a huge part of your guys' win. He had some massive moments, and you guys wouldn't have won this without Mason. So, big salute and respect to Mason, to Trenton, for what he did for you guys, So now you guys are heading in. So just real quick. All right. So pause it up real quick. So it's 2-2. We're going into overtime, and this is a huge moment. So Brody, we got to let you go. We got to bring Cyrus back in here because this is a big moment for Cyrus. But Brody, hey, mad respect, world champ. You did it, champ. You guys got that victory, and you were a big part of it. So mad respect to you, man. I can't wait to see what you guys do in 2025. So yeah, let's bring in. We got to bring in Cyrus because this is another big moment for Cyrus because he has like probably one of the most crucial kills that. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to tell what a crucial kill is when you add them all up because like any kill you had that cumulatively, it's like is the foundation more important than the paint job on the house when everyone sees the paint job? But that being said, if Cyrus doesn't get this kill, like in this situation, I don't know if JC just runs a racket in the snake, bro. I don't know if this turns out the same thing for you guys. I could have impact on this show right now. We could be singing a different song. That's how crucial this moment is right now. So we got to bring Cyrus back in. All right, so let's play it here, Darren. So we're heading into this one. Colt, what are you thinking, bro? It's overtime. You're playing Edmonton Impact. You just took down some legends. You got to just be feeling completely in the moment right now. Is it just ultimate confidence, or is there a shred of doubt creeping in? Give me the real deal here.
These guys are fucked. You come back to the momentum we had and the confidence I could feel between all the teammates was just like I don't care what breakout, what happens, this team's fucked. Because like I'm even remembering the first point, and it was a 3-on-3, and we end up we should have won it. We shot Nick Laval before he bunkered Chavez, and then they had a whole conversation about penalties, ended up turning it into a no point, when in reality, like, we won that point. So in my head, I'm like, this is the first point, because the other point they won because they shot like 2 off break or 1 off break, and then it was just a super long point, wasted all the time, right? So in my head, I'm like, we've had one solid point, and we definitely won. In my head, we won that. We're about to go fuck on these dudes, because now we have all the momentum, and I'm just super confident. Had no, not a shred of doubt.
All right, so let's pause it right here, Darren. And then now, so Cyrus, Darren, yeah, okay, right here. So it's a 4:17 left on the clock. Brandon Cornell came off early off the D side, but Stewart, I got to ask you first before we get to Cyrus, because Cyrus, you can take us away. But dude, so Stu, bro, what happened? You dive into the snake, and in the worst possible moment in paintball history for you, what happened in this situation? Was it like a core sample, barrel break? Like I looked like you just had the accelerator on the back. You tell me what happened.
Yeah, so it was a core sample, but I mean, you're pretty much core sampling no matter what when you dove into that snake. So I just kind of expected it. I pull up to shoot the dirt out like I always have been doing. I shoot a couple balls and the paint's coming out the porting instead of out the end of the barrel. And at that point, I knew I was in a bad situation. So I started trying to take off the barrel. I reached for a squeegee. I didn't have one in the right pocket. Reached for it in the left pocket. I still didn't have one. I started to talk about, my gun being down to my teammates. I'm letting them know. And I looked to Cyrus, who's next to me in the Aztec at that time. I asked him for a squeegee because I knew he had one. And then he took off running up to the center. And at that point, I knew I was in a bad situation.
Did you rip the front of your barrel off at that point in time? Like, I just need to get some paintballs out of the gun at this moment.
Yeah, I took off the front, and I had the insert in there. And when I first started shooting, it was just shredding paint. I'm sure there was broken paint in the hopper a little bit, but the insert would like slide out, and then it's just chopping all the paint as it comes through the insert. So I kept trying to push it back in and shoot more and push it back in and shoot more, and that wasn't working very well. So I eventually just take it out completely. I've just got the back, no insert in there, and it was just lobbing paint at that point.
So, and then, so Cyrus, you hear that from your boy. Did you think about throwing him your squeegee, or were you like, yeah, kick rocks, bro? I'm about to go and kill everyone right now, or get the most crucial kill here. What was going on in your head?
So we changed the breakout a little bit because they had shot me going up there off the break. I think it was the second point, or it was right after the no point. They had shot me going forward. So this point, I actually dove into the Aztec on the snake side, stayed there for a second, shot at the D side, and then it felt like in my head that as I was going forward to leave my bunker, Scott was asking for the squeegee. But from the video thing, you can definitely see that Scott was definitely asking for it as I was still in the spot. But by the time it registered in my brain, I was already out of the bunker, and I was not going back to give him the squeegee.
So you got your boy right next to you. So you guys got the forward brick, you got the most forward wedge. Chavez in a really good spot in D2. Did you know how? Obviously, he's asking for a squeegee, but were you thinking like, Scott's out of the fight right now, or I got to do this? Like, I really need to clock in right here. Or was it just kind of like par for the course? Did you know the count? I just got a lot of questions here in this situation. Because again, 4:19 into this overtime points, 5 minutes on the clock for overtime. If we don't get a winner here, it goes to one-on-ones. But you guys do have the numerical superiority, and you have the ground, but you're the tip of the spear right now, Cyrus. So did you know all these things? What did you know? What did you not know?
So I knew his gun was down, and I knew we had a kill. And then I also knew JC was already in the snake because I gun battled him in the Aztec. So I knew those three things. And then I also knew Trent was right behind me shooting the Dorito side. So I knew they couldn't be far up the D side. So I didn't have to worry about that. And I just really had to focus on the gap. And I decided to actually not even look, because when you were in that brick, you could see if they crawled around the snake too, or what we were calling the snake too is the lay down juice box. You could see if they could crawl around that if you were out far enough. But I didn't even want to risk him coming on the inside and maybe shooting my foot or anything. So I just waited on the inside of the mini wall for him to pop up.
All right, so let's run this out here, Darren, as the World Cup victory gets decided. So AC up by 1. JC's in a really good spot. He's been going to town. It's one of the big reasons they're even in the finals. So he kind of checks off on the spot. Did you think about him there? Like, Cyrus, where did you realize, did you set a trap for him? Were you like, let him get to the spot, let me kill him? What was thinking?
I definitely set the trap because I knew Scott's gun was down, so he wasn't going to really help us very much. No offense to Scott, but so I just kind of set the trap trying to kill the snake attacker, and I actually see the edge of his pack right here, and I chose not to shoot it and wait for him to actually come out. And he just gives me the edge of his mask, and I just light him up.
And then let's just pause this right here, Darren, because this is the, as I say, because some people are like, why do you call it the coffin nail instead of nail in the coffin? I'm like, it's just a clever way to say the same thing. But this is when it's over. So you have a situation where it's now Scott has made his way up into what we were calling Snake 4. And then you guys have that double stack of bodies in the middle. It's a 5-on-3 situation. You have the ground. You have outside containment on the D side. You have outside containment, not completely on the Snake side, considering Scott's situation. But at this point, when this was happening, you listen to the call, we're like, okay, well, it's PB Fit's match right now. It's a 5-on-3. Even if Stewart doesn't have his gun working, they should still be able to figure this out. And then, Scott, did you have your barrel off at this point? Like, were you ready to go to war? Or were you still kind of like, I'm just taking ground just to be a presence in this situation?
Yeah, I took the tip off in that first snake. So the tip was off already before I started crawling. I think once I got here, I tried to shoot a couple with the insert in again, and it kept popping out. And that's when I pulled it out. And I actually talked to Cyrus. I went, hey, Cyrus. And I shot one behind him, and he heard how bad the gun sounded. And he was like, okay, got it. And I was like, okay. And then after he shot JC, I was like, I'm going to go try and be bait now. And then I wanted to keep going forward after that.
Well, and then so for Colt and yeah, oh no. And then for Colt and Chavez, for you guys, did you realize it was in the bag? I mean, obviously it's impact. There's 3 bodies to shoot. Nothing's ever in the bag as long as there's somebody still alive. But you must have felt overwhelmingly confident knowing, because I'm guessing it looked like you guys had the count right and that everyone knew. And now, so Chavez, you're all the way outside containment. You're in what we're calling D3. No one's in front of you. You're in a very comfortable spot given the situation. And then Colt, you're out of the back center. You got guys in really good spots. So, Chavez, start with you. What was going through your head in this moment where you were like, okay, for sure we're winning this World Cup. It's going down right now. Like, I just need to finish this off. Like, what were you thinking from like a tactical perspective in this moment?
Pretty much once I heard that, we killed the snake, I was like, all right, cool. It's a 5-on-3. And then I knew they had a guy at the center. I was like, he's my next guy. He dies sealed in the bag because they have the mini W and then the Cobra, or what we call the snake corner. And once, I believe it was like shortly after we played this, probably maybe like 30, 40 seconds into it, we ended up shooting the middle guy. And that's when it's like perfect. I just had to turn it onto the Cobra, just get a ball or 2 on him, and then just leave that mini wing guy by himself because, one, Cole had that zone. Me and him were communicating with each other. It's like, I have it. He's like, I have it. Do what you need to do. Like, he's not going anywhere. I'm like, perfect. Like, that guy's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to play low enough to where he can't even see me, and let's bully this middle guy and the snake corner guy. And we ended up actually shooting the middle guy, and I do end up getting like a ball in on a Urena, and then, the side guy just freaking executes, that mini W guy towards the end. So.
And then Colt, for you, in this moment right here, like on the precipice of the most cool story that paintball's seen in, I don't know, a decade and a half, probably, maybe 2,
So in my situation, I was in the back center at first, and I'm trying to just understand that, okay, they're not past the W. They're not past the center wing. Trenton's set up in the wing. So that whole zone's cut off, right? We already have a kill, 5-on-4. I'm staying in the back center just to kind of like keep eyes on everyone, make sure where is JC and the snake. As soon as I get over, because I'm like, okay, well, what if this is before I knew that we killed the snake. If I can get over to the Aztec and take over Trenton's job, it now lets 2 people in the center just play paintball and like not have to be doing a job and just kind of headhunt and try to find that kill. So I'm like, okay, let me get over there. And literally as I get in, I hear kill the snake because Cyrus shoots him. I'm like, oh, well, that's fucking perfect. So then I get there and I start telling Chavez, do whatever you want. I have the zone. Like, I'm like, I have the zone. I'm not going to let these guys play paintball. And then I tell Trenton, hey, give up that zone. Like, I give up the center. I got it. Just play. Just play. And that kind of just lets him know, like, I don't have to watch this. I can literally just headhunt and make sure nobody's able to freely play paintball because I'm over here just kind of doing what I want. And I was like, I'll just be the guy on a job. And then in this situation, Chavez starts playing his game. And I think it made that center player, because I'm not holding a lane. I'm just putting a ball or 2 at the W and then a ball or 2 at the zone, a ball or 2. And I'm not holding a lane because I want them to try to do something, right? Because in this situation, you're down 25. You feel like you have to be a hero. That's what I need them to do is be a hero so I can just shoot them easily. And I think that made the center guy feel confident because he started wrapping the inside. And I just put like 3 into him. And I was like, get him the fuck out. Because I knew at that moment, like, we kill that guy, over, right? Because dude's stuck in a little W in the corner, like, and I'm just screaming. The ref finally called him out, and then I kind of just blacked out and started losing my mind because I'm understanding it's 5-on-2, like we're about to win World Cup. But
yeah, well, let's watch this out. Let's watch this again. Just storybook finish for one of the coolest paintball stories we've ever seen. I mean, Jesus. To take down Edmonton Impact, minute 10 seconds left, down by 2, 3 in a row, unanswered. Oh, it just warms my paintball soul. You know, so we do see a body come off. That was Mason, I think, right? Yeah. So,
he went to
and, you know,
when he went to play,
go ahead,
he just, Nick, he gets shot on him.
And then Chavez, you're just holding that outside lane. Just textbook paintball. Outside containment. You're the farthest body out. Nothing that Zupa could do. And then they're just trying to get creative. You have to get creative when you're down bodies, and there's no more points to work with here. And then here comes the stranglehold. Just pythoning the last bodies. Again, just textbook. You have outside containment. No one doing anything stupid. Everyone talking and shooting their guns. And it just worked out absolutely perfect for you guys to close it out. You know, you didn't really give them much of a chance. That's that situation. I think this is one of the reasons you guys are getting really good is that on your closes, you don't get selfish. You know, when the scramble happens and you guys are trying to redefine lanes and redefine jobs, that's working out really well for you guys. And there goes, and then now it's just one body left. And it's just, again, no one doing anything heroic. It's just very textbook. Oh, it's just so pretty to watch because it's perfect. You know, look at this. Everyone to their next spots, and here comes the hammer drop. Cyrus, you got the exclamation point. So we'll give you the last word before we sign off here. You know, we'll get a couple more thoughts, but we'll give you the exclamation point on the game. There it is, right there. Are you not entertained?
That's all I can really say.
He's trying to steal your 6 Ellie right there, bro. He's trying to steal your Chavez. How are you going to steal his signature celebration?
I was excited. I'm sorry.
And also the ultimate, just real quick, the ultimate World Cup flex is when you're alive at the end of the win and you get to celebrate with your dudes on the field, the last couple bodies, whatever it is. Like, that's the ultimate World Cup flex. So, dude, again, just salute to you guys that were able to do that. No disrespect to anyone else, of course, but it's like that's when you get the World Cup win and you get to look back, you're like, yeah, dog, I was alive. You were dead. Remember that? You know, it's like there's not much you can flex on when you're a World Cup champion. So there's that.
That was less of me actually doing the celly and more of just kind of taking it all in, because the crowd absolutely erupted
honestly.
when we got that final kill.
Yeah, the VIP stand was definitely feeding into me real hard.
Well, again, gentlemen, I'm so happy that we are existing in this, and you know, we didn't get a chance to get into it because I wanted to give you guys all the honors for this show. We're going to have a lot of other shows. We got Marcelo Margot, Tyler Harmon coming on the show here with a bunch of other people that have made moves. As the paintball world resets, I think we're heading into a different era right now with the way that a lot of the teams have got jumbled up. I think we are heading into a new era. So how that all plays out, well, that's why we love to watch this and consume this as a fan. But you guys are, you know, the tip of the spear right now. You're the World Cup champs. Doesn't look like any player moves for you guys. Why? You know, I mean, if you won the World Cup and beat Damage, Legion, Diesel, and Impact in route, yeah, you guys don't need to do anything. And yeah, so it's going to be a pleasure to watch you guys in 2025. But stay tuned. Again, we're going to have a lot more content coming at you, and you know, check out Play the Game podcast, Spick and Span show, all the other people that are trying to tell stories here, tell paintball stories, because that's ideally what we need to do. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for consuming this as, you know, as an entertainment product. I mean, these people give their lives to this, and it is a fascinating gunfight chess match that we all love so much. And you guys are just such an inspiration. Like we said in the beginning, Colt, is that, you know, with Dynasty coming out being over 40 and still winning tournaments, and now you guys coming up and winning World Cup with no higher guns, doing an all organic, you know, from your local field, like that's what's possible. And so you can be an old man doing this, you can be a young team coming up, you can do this. Like this has been proven. Like thus it is written, thus it shall be. What does the future hold? Who knows? But you guys are definitely going to be a giant favorite heading into 2025. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. And just real quick, we'll do a little roundtable. Colt, you know, any last thoughts before we sign off?
Just excited to keep growing and getting better.
Cyrus, Mr. MVP, what do you think?
Ready for next year, ready to start practice up again. Yeah, go watch the Fit Lives. I have a YouTube as well, but the Fit Lives is definitely where it's at.
Scott Stewart, what do you got for me?
Job's not finished. More work to be done.
I don't know. You definitely did some jobs out there, boys. It would be cool to see a series title. That would be tight, but that's obviously a big ask. But, you know, you guys can do it if you can win World Cup. Like anything's possible. All right, man, with the last word, Jonathan Chavez, tip of the spear on the D side for PB Fit. What does 2025 hold for this squad?
I believe lots of success and just you know, just ready to just put the paintball world on its toes still, and just always one of Scott's favorites. Just keep struggling all 2025.
Hey, I can't wait to see it, man. You guys are an inspiration. Thank you guys again so much for joining us here. Gonna have a ton of more content and you know, some documentary content coming at you in the off season as we build up to that 2025 season, as everything has gotten reset. It's been crazy. Again, we're going to bring in some of the leading lights on here to try to make some sense of the madness as we head into this this next season. It's going to be a blessing. So I'll see you guys then. Take care.
So you too.